Hello, Wolfpack fans. It's Marcy Bullock. This is a different kind of webinar today. I'm calling it the 10 Things I Learned from Hairspray. Sounds a little bit different than most of the career-related topics that we've talked about in our classes and workshops, but this one is from life experience, and I am going to see how many parts it takes. I try to keep all the videos to 10 minutes each, but this one might go a little bit longer. So I'm recording this during quarantine in June 2020, along with all of you, wearing the masks, which just got required in Raleigh and are required on campus this fall when you're probably listening to this. Who am I quarantining with? My assistant here. This is Mojo. He has been helping me, well, let's be honest, not at all, but he's a wonderful companion and a great therapy dog to have around during tough times. We're all going through the struggle. We're all on the bus together. So we're going to start off with my absolute favorite quote, which is, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all," by the one and only Helen Keller. She says that security is an illusion, and that's going to tie into some of the lessons that I learned that I'm about to talk about. So yes, Hairspray was actually a musical on campus a couple of years ago. You probably weren't on campus when it was a time we were sitting in Stewart Theater together, enjoying it in the audience, or for me, actually on stage. So spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the fear I had auditioning and embracing it and doing it anyway. And I got in the play. So that's the spoiler alert. And if you can't see who I am on this slide, that's good, because that means I fit in. Because another thing that I'm going to talk about today is whenever you have felt like you don't belong somewhere. Has anybody else had that feeling? Yeah. And everyone else on this stage is 21 or younger. And let's just say I am not. So I will point myself out to you if you haven't figured it out yet, with the red-haired wig and the lovely green dress. All right, so let's talk about this journey, y'all. It's open heart surgery. A little bit about my story. Yeah, you have to have a story, and you have to think about where you came from. My story is about a young woman who sought to be a person to help others reach their potential. So let's rewind in our time machine. This picture here I love. It's with my sister and my mother. I'm wearing my members only jacket. Thought I was the coolest thing ever. That was a time of my childhood where I definitely felt that I was loved by my family with every fiber of their being, and I believed in my own potential. And then fast forward here to the day I gave birth to my daughter Shelby. You can see her here as an adolescent with her sister Kaylin, and my mom and dad are there supporting me through a very big celebration in my life. Of course, you can see this is in loving memory of my mom. This is a picture of her when she was in her Navy uniform. She had a license plate cover on her car that said, "Women are veterans too." And I love her, think about her every single day. My champion in life for 34 years of marriage, my husband. That was one of our fantastic vacations together. So a lot of these people on this slide are not physically with me anymore. I've lost my mom, my dad, and my sister, but I have my daughters and my husband, and I have a lot of people looking down on me, and it kind of gives you a perspective of your mortality when you lose really important people in your life, and it shapes you into the person that you are. So that's kind of a part of my story. Also, another big part of my story is the people I surround myself by and the highs and lows. So this is a picture of my work family. These are the career ambassadors. That's Mojo, who you just saw live on the front lawn. I invite my work family into my home, and that's because it's a huge part of my life and they're very important to me. This is a wonderful day of celebration, the day that our son-in-law came into the family, and that is Throw rice. Yeah, throw rice more often is what I think about there. Taking my daughter Kaylin back to San Diego, to where I lived when I was that age, which was 21. I went to University of California, San Diego. Wonderful times together with this crew, traveling the world from Australia to Europe. We've had a wonderful time, just celebrating and enjoying life and being happy. And this is also a happy day. This is one of my most favorite pastimes is soccer, and I am holding up the Breast in Show trophy. Yes, Breast in Show, and it's a breast cancer tournament called Celebrate the Tatas, where we raise thousands of dollars in memory of my mom for breast cancer, and everybody needs to wear a feather boa. And times with friends, those are all really important things in my life. So everyone has to have a why. That's kind of at the core of who you are, why you're here. And I want you to know that mine is to help other people find their purpose. I've spent my life doing that, helping others figure out what to do with their life is the way I word it. So I created in my life a leap list. I like to think about that. Not so much a bucket list, because that sounds super morbid, but things that I really want to do to push myself and to raise the bar, and just to keep life energizing and keep having epiphanies, keep doing things for the first time. That's one of the questions I ask myself is, when's the last time you did something for the first time? So let's start off with this hairspray journey now that you know a little bit about the why behind me and my story. This honestly started with a truth or dare, and I dared myself to audition for this musical. And this was a big dare because I was scared. And this gets into the first lesson that I learned, and this is life is not a dress rehearsal. Yes, we're going to use some theatrical analogies today. This is the only moment there is. Pay attention to what brings you energy and seek more of it in life. This was a picture during one of our rehearsals for the Big Doll House in Hairspray. This was a dare because I had not been on stage since I was in high school, and I didn't even know if faculty were allowed to audition. So I boldly emailed the director of the show, didn't hear anything back, figured that's not a no. This is an exercise in persistence as well. So I proceeded to record myself singing on a YouTube and said, "Can I audition?" And about 5 minutes later from sending the email, I got a yes, you can audition. So that is the transformation we made from the actual performance from the rehearsal that you just saw, where we're behind bars in the dollhouse. And this audition was one of the most petrifying moments of my life. So this gets into taking a risk. This gets into trying something that you might not succeed at, that you might get rejected from, and doing it anyway. So my second point on my top 10 list that I learned from Hairspray is to take risks, be patient, because it's never too late to go after a dream. So think about the dream that you have. Think about something that you thought, that's a little crazy. I don't know why I'm even considering doing that. I need to just not. Yes, absolutely. Try to take that risk. So let's go back to the audition. And this is You Can't Stop the Beat. If you've seen the musical, you'll recognize some of these crazy costumes. Wonderful group of young people that I got a chance to spend a lot of time with. We rehearsed 5 days a week from 7 until 11 p.m. And let's just be real, my bedtime is normally 9 p.m. And we did that for 6 weeks. Yeah, that's a lot of time to spend together. And when the audition happened, we were asked to sing and to do a monologue and read some of the dialogue with other cast members. And The super scary part, which you see right here, is to dance. I have absolutely no choreography in my life, in my background, and that's one of the things that a lot of people who auditioned knew how to dance, and they knew a whole different language. So we all put numbers on during the audition, and during the audition, my number was 31. And so we came onto the stage, we learned some of the choreography, and then we had one night to practice it. So I obsessively watched the YouTube of the choreography as many times as I could until the actual audition, where I put my 31 on, and I think there was around 100 college students that were doing the audition. Stepping on the stage, starting the song, 5, 6, 7, 8, knowing that I would not remember all the steps, that I was just going to fake it as much as I could and stand in the back and just kind of follow the people in front of me. All right, we end the song, we're out of breath. Sweat is rolling down our brow. People are sitting in the back of the audience, the directors talking about us, and we can't really hear what they're saying, but we're just breathing, trying to smile through the lights on the stage, and I hear the director shout out, "Number 31." Of course, I look down and I go, that would be me. Of course, I already don't fit in here. Move up. And I look back and I'm like, oh, I'm in the back row. All right, I'll go up one or two rows. And then I hear all the way up. So I get to the very front of the stage. We're going to rerun the number. And we do it a second time. Absolutely smiled my way through the entire thing. I knew I could either race off the stage at that moment and realize that this was the stupidest idea I've ever entertained in my life and just throw the towel in, or just somehow make it work. And as you can tell, that was the second act that I took. And when my name was on the cast list, I absolutely froze. I did not think that I belonged. And we're going to get into when you don't feel like you belong. So here we are on number 3, defy the odds, do something really scary, and embrace the missteps and imperfections along the way. You know what? I did not do the dance perfectly on opening night or throughout any of the 4 live performances, but I don't think they picked me because they knew I was an amazing dancer. And so I was scared and I wasn't perfect, but somehow struggling through it made me a lot stronger. And this is a wonderful quote, which is, do one thing every day that scares you. Life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty well-preserved body, but a skid-in broadside, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. That is why I want you to think about your relationship with fear, because oftentimes I call it the F-bomb. It is a 4-letter word that starts with F, and it is a thing that can hold us back from trying so many different things. But conquering it is so rewarding in the end. And this was another crazy thing I did with my 2 friends. When we entered a new decade in our life, we said, let's do the Rugged Maniac obstacle course. I'm not sure what we were thinking. No one our age did it, but somehow we survived, jumping over fire and doing all kinds of really wild things. That's what energizes you in life. So the Hairspray presentation performance was absolutely one of the most scary but most meaningful things that I've done. And this gets into why I doubted myself. And I want you to insert the word here that you think of when I say I am not blank enough. For me, I said I am not young enough. I mean, you're supposed to be young to do this. I'm not talented enough. You're supposed to be a dancer to do this. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I can't remember all the things I'm supposed to do. In the rehearsals, I'd go over and over with my castmates. Now, can you show me that dance step one more time? And they were incredibly patient with me. What do you say in this blank? Maybe you look in a room and you say, I don't belong here. People don't look like me here. They're not my gender. I don't see women CEOs of this company, so I can't be a CEO. I don't see people that have the same color of skin I do. I don't see people who are my age. Maybe you're not old enough and you doubt yourself for that. Maybe you think you're not strong enough. I don't think I can get through this. I'm a weak person. This is what we have to let go of, is the I am not enough. We have to 100% embrace our authenticity and be genuine when we try new things. So that leads me to the fourth lesson that I learned. Believe in your worth and stop comparing yourself to others. If you fall into this trap, you are not alone. Looking around this stage, and again, I hope you can't find me because that means that I fit in, but honestly, I never really did fit in. I was really different than everyone else. I could have been their mom. That's how much older I was than them. And if you've been in a place that you don't belong, you just embrace it. And all of a sudden, people sometimes surprise you and make you feel like who you are is enough. So that's me in the middle there. I wasn't going to be 20 years old. I wasn't going to have the dance moves of these people. If you're comparing yourself with your grades to your colleagues in college, if you're comparing yourself, I mean, college is all about it, right? Because you're constantly getting ranked amongst other people. It comes down to listening to yourself and believing that you are worthy. And that takes some work. And doing things that are hard helps you to overcome it. And making mistakes helps you to overcome thinking that you're not enough. So these are some of the things that weigh us down. These are the messages. They get played over and over again in our minds. It's almost like a script. And some of these things may be on a recording from your childhood. And so it's really hard to let go of them. But one of the strategies that I used when that happened to me was I would observe myself thinking, "Ooh, I've got to be perfect. I can't mess up this dance. No one here likes me. I don't belong in this group. If I make a mistake, my life is going to be over. I'm not good enough to be in this crowd. I don't fit in here." I actually observe myself thinking those things, and I notice it and I pop the thought bubble. I know that sounds a little bit wild, but it's just like a bubble going over my head saying, "I must be perfect." And when I see it, I pop it because I ask myself, is that serving me? Is that helping me in this situation? Am I getting a good outcome from thinking about that? Because my thoughts create how I feel and my emotions. Do I want to be anxious and nervous and sad? No. I want to be confident. I want to be strong. I want to be proud. Those are the emotions I want more of in my life. So I would pop the thought bubble. So we're going to end part 1 of this video on the top 10 things because we've still got 6 more to go. Stay tuned for part 2 of Hairspray.